Today we're installing some wheels that definitely will not fit on the Panamera. Alright guys, yes, it is time to change up the wheels. This is a huge part of the build because it just changes the entire look of the car. I really don't mind the stock wheels, and for the stock wheel options on this car, I think that is pretty much the best one. So now I'll do a little bit of a comparison of the stock setup versus now what I'm going to be putting on the car. So first of all, the tires, it was running a Continental Extreme Contact, but the summer version only. So they were 295 35 20s. And so now I went to the Continental Extreme Contact, but the all seasons. I do live in the Northeast, so it's kind of nice to have some all seasons on pretty much all my cars. And I did go up in size because the wheel is wider. I could get wider on the tire, so I went to a 315 35. And that also means I got a little bit more sidewall, so a little bit more meat on it. It's only about a ½ an inch overall diameter larger than the original, but it does give you a little bit more meat on the side, which I like. And now for the wheels. So the stock are 20 by 11 and they're plus 68 offset. Now the new ones are 20 by 12, so they're a 1 inch wider, and they're also a minus 10 offset. So a huge difference in offset, and that's because I want to be bringing them actually well outside the car. And so what that basically means is this new wheel face will sit about 3 inches out further than the stock wheel face. And now when I was looking for wheels, Porsche is kind of a little bit weird. It has 5x130, so it's not very common across other brands. So the choices were a little bit limited. So I went with a wheel that could be custom drilled to the size I need. So I did that same thing on the Z3. So I got these custom drilled to the 5x130, and then I could have gotten a custom offset, but I basically chose the lowest offset possible, which was the minus 10. So basically if I chose a higher offset, they would have machined down this surface, but you can see it's actually not machined down from what it is normally. So there's actually a good bit of meat there where they can adjust that for you. But I wanted these as wide as possible, so we left it as is. So in summary, for the rear, we went from a 295 to a 315, and we went from a 20 by 11 to a 20 by 12. And like I said, offset way different so that we can bring the wheel outside the car. So now onto the front, a very similar story. So the stock fronts are 20 by 9.5 and a plus 65. So the new wheels are a 20 by 10, so a little bit wider, and also a minus 10 again. And that will basically bring it out to a very similar point to what the rear is, about 2 inches outside the body. And as far as tires, stock tires are 255/40, and I went up to a 275/40. So just like the back, it's about a ½ inch larger in diameter, so a little bit more meat. And so I know I'm gonna have to be clearing out some things inside the wheel well, because I saw there's actually marks on the fender liner from the stock tire setup. Now these wheels are kind of interesting because of the pattern. There actually are left side and right side wheels. So I really had to make sure I was ordering all the right stuff, because basically there's only one certain wheel that can go in each of the 4 corners. All right, so now first things first, I'll get the stock wheels off the car. I'm gonna start looking inside the wheel well at the fender liners. I might take them out because I'm gonna be looking at what exactly I'm gonna need to modify and cut out of this car to get these wheels to fit. So I had a feeling this could be an issue. I've seen this before. Basically, the stock lug bolts do not fit in the newly drilled holes, but luckily it is just this little bit, that little lip that you can see, that I'm gonna need to grind off so that they fit inside the wheels. All right guys, I got the wheels on, and as you could see, it is extremely tight, as I knew it was going to be. I can barely turn the wheel at all before it hits the front bumper there. And so it is still in high mode right now, because I'm pretty sure if I put it down even into normal mode, it will hit the front fender. The rear one would probably be okay, but yeah, you can tell I'm definitely gonna need to be cutting out a lot. The rear isn't as bad, like in the front and the back, but obviously on top I'm gonna need to cut it out so it has some room to travel. But now you can see just how much wider it is. It actually ended up being about 3 inches outside the fender in the front and about 3.5 inches in the rear. So if you haven't figured it out yet, yes, I'll be doing a wide body on this car, of course, to be able to fit these wheels, and I want to change up the look completely. So now next time I'll be cutting out the front fenders, the front bumper, and then the rear quarter panel to be able to actually functionally fit these wheels. And I'll be trying to drive it to make sure that I've cut out enough and make sure it's fully functional before I can then start working on the wide body.